Welcome to That 30 Show, a podcast where we talk about the good, the bad, and the surprising parts of our 30s. I'm G, and I'm almost 30. My 20s are filled with milestone moments from graduating university to starting a career and moving out for the first time. I'm mostly excited about what this next decade will bring, and I've got an overwhelming feeling that the best years are yet to come.
And I'm David. I'm already in my mid-30s. I used to have no back pain or trouble sleeping, but now I live off a healthy diet of self-help books and dream of being in bed by 10 p.m. every night. Join us each week as we try to figure out together what life in your 30s is all about.
All right, welcome back to the podcast, everyone.
Welcome back to That 30 Show.
And we have a super fun podcast episode for you today. I know I say that like every week, but I think today is actually going to be really fun. So we're almost at our 10th episode. So we figured it might be finally time to introduce ourselves, I guess, and let the audience know a bit more about ourselves on episode 8. So today is going to be like a fun introduction, or I guess get to know your hosts a bit more. And we have a really special guest with us today, who's Olivia. And Yay! So Olivia is one of my really good friends, and she's also our number one podcast supporter. I feel like she's the first person to listen every week.
The biggest fan of the 30 Show. Thanks for having me on, y'all.
Yeah. she's like our number one supporter. Every week once we release the episode, Olivia's like, oh my God, it's released. I'm starting to listen right now. So that's why I think it was a great idea to have her on today to do an interview with us rather than us interviewing ourselves. And we don't know these questions. She hasn't shared the questions with us. So it'll be a bit of a surprise and hopefully catch us off guard a bit. I don't know.
And for context, I've only met Olivia. I've only met you once. So you don't actually know anything about me, I think, unless you know my morning routine, but there's a lot more to me. There's a lot more to my life than what I do in the morning. So I think this would be an interesting dynamic because you guys are BFFs. You guys know each other really well. I probably know, G and I know each other well enough, but yeah, I'm excited. I love answering questions and trying not to ramble too much.
No, some of these questions, I don't even think I know G's answers either. So
Ooh.
Wow.
Exciting.
Oh my gosh.
I thought you know everything. I would have thought you know everything about G. How long have you guys been friends now?
Not that long, actually.
Not that long, but we became friends really quickly.
What do you guys think is something that ties you together? Are you like rave buddies? Are you workout buddies?
We love trashy reality shows and wine.
Is that the main?
We bond after?
Is that the main thing that bonds you guys, do you think?
We just have a lot of similar interests. We love to rave, we love to drink, and we like reality shows and gossip on TikTok. So
yeah, that's basically
the dynamic just works.
Where'd you guys meet? So last question, and that's it, I promise. Where'd you guys meet?
Oh my gosh, that could take us down a whole story.
Oh, really? Is there a story there? If it's a good story, I want to hear it.
I think we officially met on a 22-person group trip to Las Vegas, and that was kind of where the start of our blossoming friendship. We were pretty much drunk the whole time, but it was still pretty fun. And then I just remember being this girl is super fun and crazy, and then I think we just started talking more after that. So,
okay, so the way that I have the question set up, I have a basic set of questions. I call it basic, but I don't think it's that basic. And then we're going to go into more deeper questions. And then the final section is a rapid fire, this or that.
Okay, 3 segments. I like it.
All right. Okay, first question.
Okay, let's go. I'm ready. This is my Oprah moment. As in, I've never been on the TV show, obviously I've never been, but to be interviewed by, for obvious
Oprah?
reasons. Yeah. So
Take it away, Oprah.
Oh my God, I'm Oprah. This also, I feel are great first date questions. So it's almost as if we're going on.
We're having a first date with each other.
Yes, speed date.
All right. Okay. So how do you think your best friend will describe you?
Well, the first word that I can think of is positive, but I feel like I always say that. So it's like a little bit basic by this point.
So cliche.
I know. And I was trying to think of another word, but I think that's like usually what people say when I ask like people to describe me. Optimistic. Now I can't think of another word. David, you go if you have one.
I've actually asked friends this because when I was sort of on the online app circuits and dating and whatnot, going on dates, it's a common question, right? People are like, oh, how would your friends, like, they want to know like, oh, what would your friends say about you? And then I think I got that question like enough times that I was like, let me just like stop inventing this and let me just ask my friends. I'm like, hey, the girls keep asking me how you guys would describe me. How would you describe me? So I literally asked them and then I like screenshotted the answers and I sent it to the girls. Like,
Oh,
this is
wow.
what my friend said. But I think if I can remember correctly, they say that I am very straightforward, very honest to a fault, oftentimes very blunt. But I think at times, if I am my best self, I can be a thoughtful and empathetic person. Also very curious and nerdy. That's probably some of the things that come to mind. Would you agree with that, G? Would you agree with those adjectives?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Those are great adjectives. That was a lot more words. Okay, so
Yeah, any more from you, G?
I think people would describe me as fun, goofy, silly,
Basic, maybe?
basic.
In the best way possible. You do like your PSLs.
I do. I'm a basic fall bitch. So, yeah. I think my friends would also describe me as like confident.
Oh, perfect. So on the other hand, how do you think your enemy will describe you? I don't think G has enemies. I'm curious if you do, David.
Oh, I have made many enemies in my life. Well, because
then, how will they-
I'll take that away because, like, as I mentioned, right, like I'm honest to a fault. I have actually, you know, maybe G didn't speak to this. You've told me that you found me very intimidating, very like maybe hard to approach or scary.
Yeah, those are the 3 words I would describe my first encounter with David.
Because I'm kind of I'm pretty no nonsense. I don't have a lot of patience for what I deem to be BS. So my enemies would definitely describe me as impatient, insensitive. Oh my god, damn! What a question, eh? But it's okay. I am honest to a fault, so let's do it. I have bad tone.
Like the way you say things.
Oh yeah. Like I have a very judgmental or like condescending tone when I am feeling condescending or judgmental. It's very clear. Like I'll have like facial expressions where the other person feels like super judged. I'm not proud of it, but yeah, that's my.
Can I share quickly the story of my first impression of David?
Sure.
I was asking some advice from David, who I didn't really know at the time, basically on career advice. And I just felt like it was very, he questioned me a lot on why I did or did not do certain things. And at the time, I was really looking for like, you know, advice. And then I just basically was so caught off guard and I was like, okay, this guy is like intimidating and I don't really want to have to talk to him again. So, but I think he was coming from a place of, you know, curiosity, genuine curiosity, but I just felt kind of scared. So yeah, but now look at us. We're friends and podcast hosts. So all's well that ends well. For me, I think my enemies, I mean, I don't really have enemies, but I guess one thing about me is maybe sometimes I'm really scared to like hurt people's feelings. And so I'm not very honest when it comes or like upfront and like confrontational, which might be like a good thing, but sometimes it's a bad thing, right? Like when you need to be straight up with someone, I have a hard time doing that. So I think maybe like opposite of David's the good parts about David, that those are the things that I need to work on.
I think that questioning part is like, I think a lot of my friends who are listening to this can relate to that. Because like I'm very curious and I ask why, but then like because of my tone or because I'm so straightforward with that questioning, even though I would like to say 95% of the time I am coming from a place of genuine curiosity, it can feel like I'm attacking them. It's like I'm requiring them to justify themselves. So, but hey, you know, as a podcast, it works because then I can ask a lot of questions and it makes the conversation more interesting.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
my
You can carry things.
defense.
David, you are super self-aware though. The fact that you know all that about yourself is because I feel like a lot of people go through life and they don't know that about themselves. So that's also
Yeah, they're just
not that
rude,
great.
arrogant. Yeah.
Yeah.
The silver lining is like I'm rude, but at least I know I'm rude. Okay, give me a break.
I'm not saying you're rude, by the way. That's not what I meant. But
No.
That makes it all better.
do you have any pet peeves?
Oh God, how much time do you have? G?
I have pet peeves. The one that I always comes to mind is like rude people. not
Yikes! Why are we here? What's going on?
not David. I just mean people who are rude for no reason, like people who are rude to service staff or just people that they meet on the street. And yeah, I love kind people. So when people are just blatantly rude for no reason, that is a pet peeve of mine.
Do you think anyone doesn't have that as a pet peeve?
I feel like some people aren't as bothered by it.
Adam's bothered?
Yeah, some people
Right.
don't care, really, I guess.
Oh my God, can I tell a quick story about that? I was on a bus yesterday, and then there was this other girl, like she was sitting next to something that allowed her to lean her elbow on it, and she was like half asleep kind of thing. And then there was this more elderly woman that went on the bus, and she had like these bags, and she sat down and she was sorting through the bags, but then where she was sitting, there was no wall next to the seat. So like her bags, she was sorting through them. So her bags were kind of like falling off the seat because there was nothing to like support it or push against it, you know, when the bus is moving around.
Mm-hmm.
And so she actually asked the girl opposite her, she's like, oh, could I swap seats with you? Because basically the girl was sitting in what was essentially a corner. So like with all her belongings, she wanted a place where her belongings wouldn't just fall off the edge as easily. So it's like, oh, you're sitting in a corner. Can I have the corner? Because I've, have a lot of these things. And then the girl was literally being like, no, I want to sit here. And then so I look at the elderly woman, and then her reaction, I think she just like didn't know how to react. It's like, oh,
Was
wait,
not
what?
expecting that.
Yeah, like, can I have your seat? Like, there's like literally 20 free seats within 5 seconds,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
And then she said again, she repeated herself after being asked again. It's like, no, I want the seat. I want to sit here. And then so the woman sat back down, and then I immediately, and sorry, I'm not trying to, this is not about me, but it's just like, I guess it is similar to G. Like, I can't stand something like that happening. I love old people. I don't know. There's something about old people. I just love it. Like, they're so cute. Sorry,
They
does
are
that sound
cute.
weird? Like,
No,
they're so
old
cute.
people are cute.
And like, I
They
can't
are.
stand anyone treating old people poorly. Like, even if the old people is like cranky, it's like, okay, they've suffered a lifetime of like hardships. Of course they're cranky. Give them a break. They're old. It's fine. They get a free pass. I felt so embarrassed on the girl's behalf that she didn't let up her seat. But I think a part of me probably was also thinking, I don't know, maybe she's not embarrassed because she was a fucking bitch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
She's not-
people
She's
like that. Their pet peeve wouldn't be rude people.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting there. I'm hard judging this person and her parenting. Hard judging. Like, okay, she's probably really tired and she wants something to rest her elbows on so she can fall asleep. I'm sorry, that's just not an excuse for you not to like swap seats with this elderly lady who wants somewhere to put her bags.
Yeah.
What the
So
fuck?
that's my biggest pet peeve. Is that also your biggest pet peeve?
It actually is, in the sense that my biggest pet peeve is what I consider, and I realize this is very subjective, but it's what I consider to be inconsiderate behavior or actions. But yeah, whenever I feel like someone is being inconsiderate, that's just that's my biggest pet peeve. Like, I remember I used to put on my dating app, "We'll get along if ... that prompt. We'll get along if you move to the back of the fucking bus." Like, I don't know if you guys have been on buses.
Yes. When they just
but-
stand at the front.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's so much room in the back. People are trying to get on and they just don't budge. And I'm like, let's say I have a seat. I'm just like hard dagger eyes at you, like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, I don't get it. Do you guys?
Burning
I don't
through
know.
it.
I don't get it. Can you
Especially when
explain
the
to me
bus
why?
driver is yelling at you. Move
Yeah,
to the
they're like-
back of the bus.
Yeah, and they're just like, ooh, they like shuffle along like 2 millimeters. Like, what the hell's your problem? There's people trying to get on the bus. Move your ass to the back of the bus. I genuinely don't get it. Can either of you explain to me why people don't move to the back of the bus?
I think it's like maybe they're getting off at the next stop. So if they move to the very back, they can't really get out.
They want to be close
I'm sure
to
that
the
doesn't
door.
apply to some people, but sometimes it's because they need to get out at the next stop or whatever.
I hope you guys move to the back because I realize that we don't.
I do. I move.
This is very awkward.
I moved
This
to
is
the
very
back of the
awkward.
It's so funny. We're just
All right.
David's
I
like,
will.
oh no, Olivia doesn't move to the back of the bus. She's not going to be my friend now.
Exactly. Also, check your morals. No, I'm kidding.
What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Good question.
ooh. For me, I think it would be like my diving trip is probably the most adventurous thing I've done. So I went to the Bahamas for a week by myself, where I didn't know anyone there, but I was going with a bunch of people from the same city. And then we were out at sea for a week without docking on land. And we just went diving like all day, every day. And then at night, we just anchored down and slept. And then the next day, we kept going and sailing. And yeah, I think that was probably the most adventurous thing I've ever. That was also the first time I ever kind of traveled solo. So it was like nerve-wracking all at the same time, going on a dive trip by yourself.
Can you tell us about how you used the washroom and showered as well? How does
So
that
the
work
sailboat
on a boat?
was tiny, and we basically all slept on planks at the bottom of the boat. We had one shower between 24 of us, I want to say, and you can
Beautiful.
only use hot water for 30 seconds. Or not hot water. You can only use fresh water for 30 seconds, and the rest you have to shower with salt water. And the toilets were essentially like the kind, you know, where you have to like pump the toilet to make it flush. So yeah, it was basically like roughing it, but we were under the water for the bulk of the day. So there was nothing else to do when we got on the boat, really. We just chilled and relaxed. It wasn't like we were on there all the time. I would say that's pretty adventurous.
What comes to my mind is probably when I backpacked around South America a little bit for, I think, just over 3 weeks by myself, staying in hostels. Part of the adventure was that I didn't really have much planned. I ended up, for example, going to the famous salt flats in Bolivia. And I didn't even know that I would be going to that place when I embarked on my trip. I didn't know that was an option. I think that was a great adventure for sure. My Spanish really improved during that trip. And just navigating that foreign country. And the places I go to, they're not cities, right? I went to the Atacama Desert, which is the most dry, most arid place on Earth.
Whoa.
And like there's a town there, but like it's very basic facilities. I did the Inca Trail, the classic 4-day Inca Trail where I hike and camp, and I do the classic walk, I guess, that the Incans did back in the day to get to Machu Picchu. So yeah, that trip was quite nice. I haven't been on a solo trip like that
How
since
old
then.
were you
and
when
it's
you
been
did that?
many years. I think I was probably around 6 years younger. So like, what am I, 33 now? So maybe around 27.
That's definitely an adventure.
Yeah, I wish I could say I've been skydiving, but I haven't done that.
There's still time.
No,
Maybe
I'm
that's
good.
the
I'm too
next
old for
thing.
that.
Can't in your
That
30s anymore.
30
You can't go.
show. 33, you're saying you're too old to go skydive?
I'm over it. I'm over that. I just want to sleep. I just want to be in bed by 10 p.m. Come on.
You can go skydive and still be in bed by 10 p.m., I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. With that, let's move into our deeper questions. What is the biggest obstacle you currently face?
I feel like I need to define what the goal is first. Obstacle to living life the way I want to.
I currently still don't have floors in my apartment, and I feel like that is a big obstacle for me to live my best life.
Wait, so what is your flow? What is it? What's there then? I don't get it.
Cement. I am living in cement, and I just want some floors. And I feel like that is a huge obstacle right now. Anyways, it's so funny. I feel like you can kind of see our personalities through the way we answer the questions.
Yeah.
Olivia's like, what's the biggest obstacle in your life right now? And David's like, define obstacle. And I'm like,
I have no floors.
I don't have floors.
Okay. Obstacle. Well, I'm pretty tired today. So I think one of the biggest obstacles is my ability to fall asleep consistently and get good quality sleep. It really affects my life a lot. Like I would say 25% of the time, I don't have a good day because I don't get good sleep. And like I've actually tried to see a sleep psychologist to figure out my shit. Yeah. There's some people who like they can just close their eyes and they're out in 10
that's me.
seconds. Oh my God.
I fall asleep in less than a minute.
That's amazing.
I don't have much going on up there, so.
Oh, wait, I know this is about it, but Olivia, like, when you say that's amazing, is it because you also can't do that, or?
I definitely go through periods where I'm like G, where I can pass out because I'm so tired from everyday life. But then other times I am looking at the ceiling and a million things are going through my head and then I can't fall asleep.
David, maybe you just need to exhaust yourself. Like you need to live an Audrey lifestyle and then you can maybe fall asleep at night.
But sometimes your body is so tired, but you still can't fall asleep for whatever
your mind
reason.
is awake. Yeah, that's true.
I guess that would really literally change my life. If I could somehow press a button and be like, David, you're now guaranteed good quality sleep night in, night out, that you'll be able to fall asleep when you go to bed. Wow.
How much would you pay for that?
I would
if
pay,
that was
oh
technology.
my gosh. Yeah. That's a good question. I would start at $10,000.
Okay.
That's my starting bid. Starting bid for that. Like that's how much like my life would change. I don't have a lot of money, so that's a lot of money for me.
No, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
I can afford it, but like it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it would be life changing. Just health, mental, just consistency. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's a common thing. Like everyone has different reasons. For me, it's not actually just that I have a lot going on in my mind. It's that when I feel the pressure to fall asleep, then I can't fall asleep. And when I don't feel pressure, then I can fall asleep. Like last night, I couldn't fall asleep because I went to bed late. I was just up for some reason. And then it was like 1:30 a.m. And then I'm like, okay, oh my gosh, it's already 1:30. I have to fall asleep now because I got a podcast tomorrow. I got to be awake for that.
Sleep anxiety.
Yes, I have sleep anxiety. Yeah, that's my biggest obstacle. So if there's anyone listening who has sleep anxiety and has a cure, please let me know because I'm suffering. I know friends who like take like CBD oil and like try and do meditation. It's a really common thing, I think, to have sleep issues, whether it's insomnia, overthinking, sleep anxiety. So G, you're very lucky. You don't know how good you have it. So next time
you have the occasional insomnia day, but it maybe happens once every few months. So I consider myself lucky and I'll write it in my gratitude journal for today.
The next question was actually, what are you most grateful for in your life? But I guess we have G's answer, the ability to fall asleep.
No, I don't know that's one of the things, but I'm sure you have something else to add.
Well, one of the things that I've thought a lot about recently, and I don't know why I've become more aware of this, but just like having such a great group of friends. Like I've had that great group of friends since I was like young, with the exception of Olivia when we became good friends just a few years ago. But
save the best for last.
Yeah, but like having such a close-knit group of friends at this age, especially when we're all kind of going through different things now in life, is super important, and I think greatly helps with my mental health.
I want to talk about that a little bit because I think it's so funny because G, you and I have talked about a little bit about, dating, finding a partner, blah, blah, blah. And then I was talking about how, it's so nice when you have a partner, you can send each other like good morning texts and check in with each other throughout the day. Cause like, who else would you talk to throughout the day on a consistent basis, if not for your partner? You don't do that with friends. And then you were like, that's exactly what I do. Right? You have you and your friends, you guys text your good morning every day.
Every morning.
Like, text throughout the day about like random shit.
Yep. Super random shit.
I don't want to bring the mood down or anything because you're like, my friends, I love my friends. And I think this is just, hopefully people find this amusing, just how different our answers are.
Yeah.
Yours is, I don't have my carpet or whatever. And mine is like, what does obstacle really mean? So, because my answer is a little bit deeper because, but it's my honest answer. So I hope people will appreciate that. What I'm most grateful for are two of the biggest challenges I've faced in my life. I consider myself very lucky in that I grew up in what I felt like was a very financially comfortable family, a very loving family. I had an amazing childhood, and there was basically no hardship growing up for me from age, 0 to middle high school, I'd say. But because my parents then got a divorce, and also there were some financial challenges in my family, I had to sort of by myself in Canada take charge of my own life, be my own man sort of overnight, and be self-sufficient and seek my own emotional support outside of my family. But I think that helped me grow so much in that, like, I didn't even understand the value of money until I had my first job because I was so coddled and so privileged. But I'm really grateful for that turn of events because I'm so happy that I was given the chance to go so much further as a person than I otherwise would have been if I stayed in that super comfortable environment that my family so selflessly provided for me. And I'm very grateful for that they did that. But I'm grateful that I didn't actually last because I would not have been as prepared, I think, for life. And then the other hardship was actually, ironically, was my concussion. Because ever since my concussion and everything that happened there launched what I feel like for these past 5 years has been this 5-year personal journey for me to understand mindfulness, to understand the power of your mind, the importance of mindset, the importance of perspective, the importance of humility and self-compassion and all of those things. So all these greatest things that I have been lucky enough to develop and learn as a person were because I had to overcome challenges. And so I am so happy that I'm very passionate about healthy lifestyles now. I'm so happy that I am into stuff like gratitude, practicing gratitude, or stuff like a mind over matter, but that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't sunk to my lowest that I have experienced as an adult during my concussion. So sorry, maybe a little bit deep for some folks out there, but
that was inspiring, David.
That's my honest answer for what I'm most grateful for.
I like how at first you were like, define obstacles, and then you're like, I'm grateful, so grateful for the obstacles in my life. Wow.
What happened? What concussion? As a listener who don't know what happened.
Because I wish I could say that I was adventurous, right? That I went on some crazy adventure. Maybe I went on this super big snowboard jump, and I landed on my head, or like I was, doing jujitsu or like martial arts. Nah, I literally just sat on a roller coaster that was super bumpy, and I hit my head while I was riding the roller coaster. And it wasn't that bad, but it just lasted for a long time. Like I wasn't, I didn't faint, I didn't vomit, I didn't get super dizzy. But I don't think it helped that night I like basically OD'd on weed. Or not weed. I don't know if that helped my brain recover from the concussion. I always feel like in hindsight, I always reflect, I'm like, maybe it wouldn't have been that bad if that very night I was psychotically high on edibles. I wonder if my brain would have recovered better. This was a bachelor party. And that was the first and only time
I have more and more questions.
Please ask.
Olivia, we're not going to ride a roller coaster.
Where is this bachelor party? What roller coaster is this?
This was in LA, Six Flags.
Everyone else was fine?
Yeah. Because like I just hit the back of my head while I was on a roller coaster. And it was partly because right before the roller coaster started, I felt the strap loosen. Like it's not a strap, it's like one of those mechanical ones. And so like I felt like it loosened one peg or whatever you call it. Like, it goes like when you tighten it,
that
there's different
so
levels.
Scary.
And I felt like it loosened one notch, but it was still tight. It was fine. I was not in danger. But because it loosened one touch, instead of being like almost suffocatingly tight, which is probably the safest option, there was a little bit of wiggle room. So this is Six Flags. These roller coasters are amongst the most badass in the world. I had to use my muscles during the ride to press myself against the harness so that I wouldn't be rocking. Because of that, my head was like kind of whiplashed at one point. And I hit my head. And again, it wasn't a very hard hit, but like, I guess it just, concussions, you never know. It just ended up being symptomatic in one way or another for the next 2 years, actually. So it's funny. I every time I see my friend, they always joke about it, or they send me like links. Like when like Six Flags has like a deal, they send me a link like, "Hey guys, let's go."
Have you been to Six Flags since? Have you been on that same roller coaster?
I haven't been on a roller coaster period since.
Trauma.
I'm not. It's not trauma. It's to me, it's the same thing as when I got a speeding ticket. One time, I got a speeding ticket, and then I had to pay like $130. I'm like, this is the dumbest way to lose money. I'm never speeding. It's not worth it. So like hitting my head on a roller coaster, I didn't even like roller coasters that much to begin with. I was just there for the bachelor party. My friend, I'm just like, I don't know whose brilliant idea was to go to Six Flags 3 days in a row and ride roller coasters nonstop for 3 days. And then on the third day, it was a weekday, so there were no lineups. So we literally, like, these roller coasters, oftentimes you're waiting at least half an hour for this one roller coaster that lasts 2 minutes, right? We're going on the same roller coaster like 3 times in 15 minutes. It was stupid.
Next question. What are you like on your worst days? Not the best, the worst.
Damn, these are like just bearing our soul.
I wanted to get to know y'all.
Just showing the most vulnerable, ugly parts of who we are.
The ugly parts are what makes people beautiful.
Beautiful?
I think.
Oh, God.
People are flawed.
We're crying.
Just starts crying. This starts feeling like a therapy session.
Yeah. I have an answer, but I've been talking for a little bit. So, G, you go first.
I feel like when I have bad days, I generally like to keep to myself. Like, I love hanging out with friends on a regular basis, but I do feel like when I have a bad day or if I'm in a bad mood, I like to kind of be away from people and just kind of recharge or sit in my own space and not have to like talk to people, deal with people, and just like think about things on my own. I guess I feel like I shut down a bit more. Partially because it's like for myself and partially because I just don't feel like I need to subject my friends to my bad days.
That's literally what I was going to say, which is, G, you're such a... It's okay. It's fine. But you're such an angel. Like, even on this question, your answer is basically, when I'm having a bad day, I just make sure that I don't harm anyone because of it. Like, that's...
Well, that's also what I need.
This is why you don't have any enemies.
It's also what I need to make myself feel better.
No,
because I think I would
make myself feel worse if I did go and yeah.
Because a lot of people do, and like whether they're aware of it or not, they take it out on their partner, on their friends, right? And that's sometimes like if you're really close to that person, in a way, that's arguably your job is to let people is to be the sort of the shield to that person's emotions. They need that, but you just take it all on yourself and you don't unload that on other people. And
I do, but I feel like maybe sometimes that kind of like weighs on yourself too. Like, I don't know if that's the best practice is to just hold everything in, because maybe one day my head is just gonna like explode. I don't know. It hasn't really happened yet, but maybe one day it'll happen. So I don't know if it's best practice, but that's just what I do.
Well, if you're still listening to this episode, you know where this is going to go. Just think of what G's answer is. Just think of the opposite. What's the complete opposite? It's probably David's answer. But no, when I have a bad day, like I'm usually sleep deprived, and so like I'm impatient. I'm curt and short. I have even less tolerance for mistakes, or as Audrey says, incompetence. I have less compassion. I will more easily assume the worst of someone. Like if there's something going on, and I like there's sometimes the idea where you can interpret the same event in two different ways. I'll probably interpret it in the way that victimizes myself, right? Because I'm just like, my life sucks, and you're like making it worse. When I say all this, it's, again, as I said earlier, very blunt and honest. So it's easy for me to say this, but just because I say it very easily doesn't mean I'm proud of it. I'm not proud of this, but I just know I'm pretty self-aware, I think, on who I am. I also just waste the day. When I'm having a bad day, I have no motivation to be productive. I waste it. I just spend all day in bed, or I just like binge Netflix show. I'm just like, life sucks. I feel like shit. I'm not even going to try and be resemble a responsible, good person. I'm just going to be the most unhelpful person in society today.
I'm trying to look for more positive questions in my list, and I guess they're all kind of sad. All right. Okay. The last question of my deeper section. What makes you happy?
Oh, finally, a positive. There's just been like the mentors everywhere, and now we're finally casting Expecto Patronum. What makes you happy? That's the oldest question in man. Oh, sorry, that's me fucking going deep in again. She's just like, what makes me happy?
Make it sad again,
Mondays
David.
make
Do
me
it.
happy. No, and I'm just like, that's the deepest philosophical question that mankind has ever faced.
Yeah, like I was just gonna say, like it's a combination of a bunch of little things kind of throughout the day. I am not as deep and thoughtful as David, so I can't come up with like one really deep answer.
You know, though, the fact that that's sort of just how you're generally thinking is, in my opinion, my theory is that's actually what allows you to be
Makes
very
me
positive
happy.
and happy. Yeah. People who don't overthink, this is not rocket science. People who don't overthink things, don't overanalyze, are happier.
Overthinking is definitely not a word that anyone would use to describe me. But there's always checks and balances, right? Like even with the overthinking, there's a time and place for sure for thinking things through. So
never.
In those circumstances, it's definitely a fault.
Like maybe when you're driving 60 kilometers on a snowy road, that's when you should have thought things through a little bit more.
I was thinking work-related things, but yes.
So what makes you happy? You just the small things, G? You don't want to expand on that? What's going on?
I have a bunch of like little things. I don't know. Like you said, Mondays make me happy for whatever odd reason. Working out makes me happy. Hanging out with my friends makes me happy. Sunny days, warm weather, a pumpkin spice latte.
Mondays. I'm still stuck on that. Mondays make her happy, y'all.
Fresh starts make me happy. So Monday is one of them. Yeah, I mean the list could go on. It's all the little things in life.
That's so funny. Like you're like, how much time do you have? I can keep going. And I'm sitting here like, what's one thing? Can I think of one thing that makes me happy?
And you said the same thing when we asked about pet peeves. You're like, how much time do we have? I have so many pet peeves.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think that's the problem, is that it's so easy for me to think of things that irritate me, and it's so hard to think of things that make me happy.
I think maybe because you're trying to go deep with it. What's one little thing that makes you happy?
Well, I love playing board games, but that's not like true happiness in my opinion.
Hey, I think
what
board
is
games
true
are
happiness?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, don't ask
and
me.
how
that.
do you
Don't ask
know
me
when
that.
you found it?
This podcast is too long already. I think what makes me happy is great conversation. When I am intellectually stimulating conversation, it doesn't have to be smart. It's just like something that makes me think, and someone who makes me consider things in ways I didn't consider, or like challenges me in a way. And it's like, oh, David, but you said this, but like, have you thought about this way? Because like that doesn't actually make sense. I'm like, oh wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, I never thought about it. I am being hypocritical. Thank you for pointing it out. Like, I love
Things
that.
that tickle your brain.
I love expanding my mind. Yeah.
Love that. That's a great answer.
That's me. All right, rapid fire.
Okay, rapid fire. Don't elaborate. Just this or that, okay? We don't need...
Don't overthink it,
yeah.
David.
Don't overthink it.
Okay, first one. Book or movie?
Book.
Movie.
Phone call or text?
Text.
Phone call.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
TikTok.
You know,
Money?
wait, hey.
Oh.
This is actually part of the reason why I thought it would be a good idea for you and I to do a podcast, G, is because we are very different. So we bring different attitudes and perspectives, and I'm hoping that translates to previous and future episodes. It's not interesting. We're so similar. So anyway.
Money or free time?
Free time.
Money.
Are you serious right now? Okay.
Money can buy you time.
Continue.
Online shopping or shopping in person?
Shopping person.
Shopping person.
Hey, we finally
we got
agree on
one.
something. Let's
Agree
go.
on shopping.
We can go shopping.
Burger
All right.
or pizza?
Pizza.
Burger.
Rich friend or loyal friend?
Loyal friend.
Loyal.
Obviously.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean,
This requires just one answer. Would you rather be in an arranged marriage or be single forever?
It's pretty easy for me, actually.
single forever.
Arranged marriage. Arranged marriages, as I'm sure you guys know, is more successful statistically than romantic marriages.
That's true. I did think about that in my long pause. But anyway, was that the end?
That's all the questions.
Wow.
Thanks, Olivia. Damn, that went.
Yeah.
Well, I'm entirely at fault for that. Whenever that went deep. Thank you for keeping it light, Doji. I think people who like just. I feel like there's probably like a certain demographic who might listen to this who just anytime it's David's time to answer, just fast forward.
No, we need both sides.
Nah.
Thanks for having me on. This was so fun.
I want to end with asking Olivia a question. Olivia, what makes you happy? What? Is this a hard question? Are you more Team David than Team G on this? Like, what's going on?
I literally call myself a sad bitch. Like, I'm sad all the time. What makes me happy? I think the people around me who love me truly for who I am and accept me at my worst times, that makes me happy. That I can say that I can truly be myself around quite a number of people in my life. Yeah, that makes me happy.
That's amazing. I think there's many people who don't have a single person that they can do that with.
It makes her happy when she can be sad.
All right. I think that's enough of everyone's time.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hopefully this was entertaining and you got to know us a little bit better.
Thanks so much for coming. We will wrap it up there for today.
Thanks
Sounds
for having me.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.